In a bustling city, hidden among towering skyscrapers, there was a tiny, forgotten bookstore called The Last Page. It was wedged between a coffee shop and a dry cleaner, so small and unassuming that most people walked right past it without even noticing. One rainy afternoon, a young woman named Mira ducked into the bookstore to escape the downpour. She wasn't much of a reader, but the cozy, warm interior called to her. The shelves were lined with old, leather-bound books, their spines faded and titles barely legible. As she browsed, Mira noticed a peculiar book lying open on a table. It was blank, except for the first line on the first page. The story begins when you turn the page. Curious, she turned the page. Suddenly, the words began to appear, forming sentences and paragraphs as if being written by an invisible hand. The story was about a young woman named Mira who had just entered a mysterious bookstore on a rainy day. She felt a chill run down her spine as she read about herself in real time. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, Mira continued to read. The book described her every action, every thought, as she flipped through its pages. The story grew more intense, recounting her journey deeper into the bookstore, where the shelves seemed to stretch endlessly into darkness. Then she came across a passage that made her heart race. Mira reached the final page, and with trembling hands, she turned it to reveal her fate. She hesitated, the rain pattering softly against the windows. Did she really want to know how the story ended? But her curiosity got the better of her. She turned the final page. The book was blank again, except for one sentence. The story ends when you close the book. Mira felt a strange sense of relief and unease. She closed the book and placed it back on the table. But as she turned to leave, she noticed something odd. The bookstore seemed smaller than before, the walls closing in, the exit now just a narrow slit of light. Panicked, she tried to rush to the door, but the shelves began to shift, blocking her path. The books fell open, their pages fluttering wildly as if alive. Words swirled around her, whispering stories of those who had come before her, trapped by their own curiosity. With one last effort, Mira lunged toward the exit and tumbled out into the street. The rain had stopped, and the city was bathed in an eerie twilight. She turned to look back at the bookstore, but it was gone, vanished without a trace. Breathless and shaken, Mira reached into her coat pocket and felt something soft. She pulled it out to find a single, torn page from the book, the final words written in neat script. Some stories are better left unfinished. From that day on, Mira never stopped searching for the last page, though she knew deep down that some mysteries were meant to remain unsolved.